Hello, everyone. It's another day and year on the Niger Scam Pod, and I know you're wondering why you're not hearing Said's, Emeka, or Oiji's voice. It's going to be a very interesting episode today, and I, Commander Matrix, will be hosting. But we have very interesting guests over. This is more of like a crossover episode with our friends from the Nigerian public commentator space. They are from the critically acclaimed Out of the Box podcast. Please welcome
Mm.
Alisa and Dorothy. These guests, or should I say co-hosts, on today's episode are very well known for their public commentary. Over to you guys. I'll just leave you to introduce yourselves and what you do as a podcast.
Hi, hello everyone. Happy New Year. Yeah, I am one of the hosts of Out of the Box podcast, and we just try to promote to more, more information about every other thing that people already know, but kind of give them a way to look at it. So, yeah, yeah, nice to speak to all of you, and I'll hand over to my co-host.
All right. It's great, so great to be here. And yeah, I'm Duro to me. Some people know me as Timmy, some people know me as Duro to me, but yeah. And one of the hosts of the Out of the Box podcast where we just, discuss regular issues and from a different perspective, a perspective that is not stuck in the box. That's basically it. So yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah.
the short but very detailed introduction. I think the topic we have today is more on Dirty December takeover of Lagos. And this is a really huge topic. I know December was just a couple of weeks ago, and of course, because it's holiday period around the world, we had an influx, or there was an influx of tourists. Some I would classify as tourists, some people just, coming back home, permit me to use that term. But what do you think was the most striking thing about the IJGB takeover of Lagos and maybe Accra during the past December break? And what would you say was the most striking element or the most striking events or things that happened that stood out the most to you?
For me, I think I just had to experience it online. So my perspective might just be from there. It's interesting because normally I see things happening in Ghana, or for the past 3 years, there were more things going on in Ghana where you see Nigerian celebrities go to Ghana and, their concerts. There was a time they
Yeah,
even talked about, hosting Afro Nation, things like that. So Ghana has been that hub for the past 3 years, and many
mm,
people have already spoken about how that affects the people, the locals, or whatever that is. Maybe we'll get into that later in the conversation.
yeah,
But for
definitely will.
Nigeria, yeah, for Nigeria, it was interesting because when people have suffered all the year, you'll be expecting that people will just relax. And then you now
Mm,
see that, oh, okay, what's going on in here? And, it just gives that facade of, oh, people can still live life. There's the facade and there's like the people that actually come, like you said, influx of people when you call them tourists. It just made me think about some ideas or some things that I've been pondering upon. I feel a lot of people, a lot of Nigerians, especially the Nigerians that are not in Nigeria, want to interact with Nigeria as if they are tourists. Even if they were born in Lagos, they are Lagosians, but they just want to like dip their toe in Nigeria, participate in Afrobeat, participate in the Ashwebi, the festival, and go back, rinse their body and go to work the next day and wear tuxedo and nobody call them Nigeria again. That's the thing. I think I've literally sat with this thought for a bit, and I felt like the way the conversations were coming out from Nigerians trying to go to Nigeria and be tourists was interesting. Another part that was interesting for me was the celebrities that were coming, not just Nigerian celebrities. not just celebrities. What am I saying? Oh well, celebrities, because there are different types of celebrities, right?
Yeah, different
Um,
classes of celebrities.
not to me, but yeah, I was like, what are these people doing in Lagos? What is in Lagos? What are these people going to do in Lagos? And they're like, oh, dirty December, and all of that. Say, I guess. And then, Twitter has a lot of interesting takes, and sometimes you pick one or two. They said it's like a
Mhm.
minstrel show. What do they call it? When you just like just watching. It's like there is a new, I might be getting that pronunciation wrong, but I'll check it up later and just get it correctly. Where you just have this kind of show where people are just watching, like there's this, or they're performing, so to say. But there's just a lot that happened, and I felt like it was
Like a
a lot more
circus.
dynamic. Yeah, a circus. Like the kind of people that are going to Nigeria, the kind of people
Hmm.
that have interest in Nigeria. There are people that are already like falling from their high horse, and they need to hold on to something, and then they come to it's just all over the place. Anyways, I don't want to write too much already, but yeah, it was interesting to me. That's just like my initial perspective to it, and it just got me worried on a couple of things. I'm quite wary about tourism right before this whole dirty December thing happened in Nigeria. Not just tourism, because the kind of tourism in Nigeria, for Nigeria, when a country is not a first world country, first world
Yeah,
in quotes, when a country is not a first world country or a developed country, I'm very wary when they become tourist attraction sites.
yeah,
When it's not for learning purpose, or for at least when people go to Ghana, they'll try to go to see the slaves, where they were taking the slaves from,
yeah.
even though we
Same,
had similar. Right. Even though we
like
had similar posts, or we have similar posts where they were taking slaves from in Lagos, nobody is like really putting that at the forefront, trying to learn about that. People are going there for leisure, and so that's just my initial
yeah. I
long
think thank
take.
you very much for that very interesting take, Elisa. I think Lagos will always just be Lagos, or Nigeria will always just be do like Nigerian things. Josie, we would like to hear from you. What do you think were like the most striking elements or the most striking things about this Dirty December takeover?
Yeah, it was actually very interesting to me, right? Because for the most part, I don't really know if it was organic or if it was, something that was orchestrated by, you know, I don't know whoever might have orchestrated it, but it was interesting to see a lot of people, pick interest in Lagos or pick interest in Nigeria at that particular point, even though it's like a usual thing too, because December's, yeah, people always want to come back home and everything, but this was like, a little bit unusual, given the fact that I don't think there was any public promotion of Lagos or something like that within this time frame. But definitely, we saw a lot of people, could come through, and like Halisa was saying, the celebrities and all, so it was very interesting to me. I was not excited about it, but it was just interesting because, like, despite all of the things to me that has basically like gone on, in Nigeria this year, it's been a very hectic year and everything, so one will have expected that maybe the conversation will have been different, but it was almost like, Nigeria was like, Nigeria is, everything is okay. Like there was no, like everything is okay, and everybody just came to just have fun, and everybody has, gone back, So for me, it was surprising, and at the same time, it wasn't really exciting because those people, from the perspective of someone who lives in Nigeria, right? Their coming back had literally no impact, and it's like one of the things that we could talk about was how, like, um transportation fare was massively increased. People could not like book Ubers. The rates were crazy, because I don't know if the drivers, had saw like, oh, this is some time for us to make money. And a usual fare that would cost maybe 15K became like 40,
Hmm.
50K and everything. And there was a lot of complaints about that. So that's just basically the basic things that, stood out and, were a little bit concerning.
So I think Dorothy, me now you're going more into like the socioeconomic impact of that surge, like literally like how we had like surges on, taxi hailing services, and because of the demand and supply, things became more expensive for locals. Um, I think that's something very important that we're going to discuss more about as the conversation progresses. But then I just want to quickly ask you guys that do you think there's something very admirable about Lagos becoming a tourist destination of sorts? I know, Dorothy, you said that you don't think that there was any special PR being done by the government or by the state. But I do know because I listen to a number of like podcasts, with UK hosts, and then with like LA hosts, and a lot of people did talk about like going to Nigeria, like they were chasing like the winter sun, going where it's sunny and having a good holiday there, as opposed to just having like a drab holiday, permit me to use that term, in regions where it's relatively cold. But do you think there's anything special about Lagos? Like, why Lagos? Or do you think there's anything been that's been more progressive about Lagos recently that's drawn these tourists? Also,
Yeah.
I was just going to ask, do you think that this had like any really good impact on the city during this period? In terms of
Yes.
like the PR for the city, do you think it's brought more positive interest to the city?
Yeah. So I think because I'm a Lagosian, so obviously my answer will be yes. There's something special about Lagos, and that's like historical, geographically and everything. There's something special about
Yeah,
Lagos. There's something special about the people of Lagos, the culture of Lagos. It's something that would always attract people. It's something that's attracted people since the days of my great grandparents. And that's why Lagos is where it is today. But I would say that I think that most of the promotion, like you said, was done by private individuals. I don't specifically think it was done. You know how we see Dubai promoting Dubai and many
yeah,
of these countries, Rwanda, come to
mm,
Rwanda and all no, but it wasn't. I don't think there was a lot of effort by the government, even though they have their own small promotions but private individuals, show promoters, club owners, and all of those kind of people will have pushed this on the ground, and maybe that's what attracted a lot of these celebrities because people definitely want to see their celebrities and everything, right? And also because I work background in the entertainment industry, I know that almost everything that we see out there is engineered, right? So if you're seeing
definitely.
celebrities come to Nigeria to say, "Oh, I love Nigeria so much," there's nothing that it's something that is basically may have been engineered on the ground. So yeah, there's something special about Lagos, but just because of the economic conditions is why some of us might not be so excited right now. And do I think it has had positive impact? Definitely. I think definitely revenues will have gone up in Lagos. The government will make more money taxing people. I was listening to a podcast yesterday where the CEO of Landmark said he paid about 10 billion in taxes to the Lagos state government previously, which means that the entertainment industry, this hospitality is big business, and I think they will have made a lot of money. Drivers obviously made money during that period, and people that have their businesses centered around that industry. And also I think it also gives like business owners or entrepreneurs an idea that okay, the coming year, this is what to do. There might probably be another boom, maybe say next December, so you have to position yourself to be able to earn from that. So I think to that level, there was a little bit of positivity on that.
Elisa, I think I'd like to hear your thoughts. I know that you may not have had like the dirtiest of Decembers in Lagos, but
Mhm.
can you just give your opinion on that? Do you think that there's something special or there's something that's changed about Lagos over the years that may have caused this surge in tourists?
I feel like I'm not easily impressed. I don't know if they'll say something is special in Lagos, but maybe there is something special in Lagos. Maybe there is. I've been trying to think, the question, I feel like the premise of the question is like, now I have to find something special in Lagos to talk about. But I feel like anytime I think Lagos, I'm unable to divorce the poverty from the luxury. So in my mind, I'm like trying to see how to do that. And uh there's something special about Lagos. Yeah, it's a small city geographically, but it's attracted all of these people from different parts of Nigeria. And now there's almost like a Lagos culture. When people say we are Lagosians, they are not saying we are Yoruba people, right? They are not saying we are Hausa people, we are Fulani people. You can just be whoever, and you can be a Lagosian. You can take a whole new identity. It's quite powerful, I think. So maybe that's I'm going to give the credit to the people than much more than I guess historical perspective to that question, or
Yeah.
even infrastructure. I don't know, just the people. I feel it's very interesting when you see when there can be a hub where many people can come in and literally just build a whole new culture for themselves. So it's going to get to a point, if it's well cultivated self, that you'll be seeing like, okay, this is like Lagos food, Lagos slang, not just like one, not something you attribute to just one language or things like that. But which is one of the reasons why you have the conservative people like brewing, where it's like, no, we need to conserve or preserve this culture. And you have all different wings of people, trying to. It's
Yeah.
always a good thing when you have that those two different thoughts, and synthesizing and kind of coming up to bring something new and much more progressive. But sometimes just our government and the system does not really support anything new. It's like it does not support forward. Anything you try to do, it kind of like just like makes it backward. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm answering the question of what if there's
No,
anything
you
special about
you
Lagos, but
actually are,
mhm.
and from what you've said, I think I've picked out something very notable where you said that you can't divorce the level of rot, poverty, deprivation from the luxury that is glazed over Lagos. Because if you've lived in Lagos, or if you've spent some time in Lagos, you know that there are really both sides of the divide. And while there may be like the glamorous look or the glamorous parts of Lagos, there's also the parts that we like to, hide somewhere. I mean, for me, when I show people what Lagos looks like, definitely I don't show them the part that is shown on CNN or BBC. I don't show them the part that international media focuses on, which is the slums and the hungry children, and the parts that are very embarrassing to us. I would show you like landmark location in Lagos, like Lekki Ikoyi Bridge, and the parts that we really see in this new Nollywood, the footages of the really nice places. So that just also just takes the conversation to the dynamics of global economy. And when we have a lot of people come in, what is really their intention of coming to Lagos? So do you guys think that the dynamic of the global economy, I mean, that's like third world countries being at the bottom of the economic system, do you think that it allows for proletariats from the first and second world to come and be elite in Lagos, which is a city in the third world, due to the currency value? Do we think that because of how the naira has been devalued and how the naira is so weak against other currencies or a host of other currencies, that this allows for people who come as tourists to come and exploit Lagos, so to speak? Or do we think basically like IJGBs come to Nigeria or to Ghana to get their dose of premium treatment, or they come to be elitist after having like a full year of being proletariats? So I think I want to hear from Alisa on that, and then we hear from Joe to me.
Yeah. So, okay, I do not think that people come with that intention, because the demography, we need to be aware of the people we're talking about here. They are tourists, but at the same time, they are Nigerians. Like, I think maybe when they come to Nigeria and they are faced with some type of reality, they are slapped back to being who they actually are. Especially, I think to a large extent, the people that go to Nigeria for Dirty December are still Nigerians. I think in fact, let's even bring up the video that went viral, where a lady was kind of saying she was shocked that Nigerian ladies were not dancing at her feet. She was shocked that she went on a table and everybody was just minding their business, or she felt like they were rude to her.
Oh,
I don't
really?
know if you
I
saw
need to.
that.
No, I,
You did not
I
see
did
that clip,
see.
Madam
Um,
Joyce? There's a
oh, was it
UK
Madam?
podcaster.
I know Madam
Yeah.
Joyce really well, and I listen to
Oh,
her podcast a lot. And
oh,
but I did see that clip. I did see
oh.
like some
Mhm.
comments on Twitter about someone saying something about like the gender dynamics, in Dirty December, but I didn't see the clip that caused the whole conversation. I
Yeah,
think I'll
there
need
was
to go look for it.
okay, maybe you don't. We stay on the internet sometimes. But yeah, there was this clip that was going around. It was kind of popular, where she was I think she did it on her Snapchat or something of that nature. I'm not very sure, but the clip came on Twitter, obviously, and she was kind of saying that I am not going to quote her at all, but the perception, or what she kind of spoke about, was that she's this kind of well-known person, and she went to say hi to some Nigerian ladies, and they were just looking at her like who are you? So she felt like they were rude to her, and she was saying that she's not here to take their partners or things like that, and it was just kind of in
Oh wow.
bad faith, bad taste. It just, and then people started bringing up similar kind of clips that has happened before, where women from the diaspora complain about women that are born in Nigeria. Someone even said it out loud. There's this other lady that's kind of like a show host that was complaining one time. I even had to comment on it because I was just like, what is this? It's like women born in Nigeria are usually not respectful of it's just
Oh
kind of
really?
like, yeah, so that's why there was that. I don't know the gender dynamic you're talking about. If you say gender, then maybe you're talking male and female regarding IJGB. I'm not very sure about that, but what I just know is just really from the IJGBs and the Nigerians that are born and they reside in Nigeria. So when they come to Nigeria, maybe they feel like these Nigerians that live in Nigeria should look at them as elite. But
Yeah.
they're shocked when the ladies that live in Nigeria are just like, who are you? Excuse me. They are shocked that they are not received like maybe a tourist that is, like I said, my first point, that maybe is white would be received. I don't know. But you are Nigerian. You went to Nigeria and you're acting like a tourist, and you're coming off like as a tourist. You want to be elite now, and you're shocked that Nigerians just look at you like, we don't know who you like. That I'm not about to be smiling in your face, like we don't know each other, right? And they get that. Yeah, so maybe they came. So I guess that, going back to your question, it would be maybe they came to Nigeria and they wanted to have that kind of experience, but then they were shocked. And I think one of the reasons why that would happen is because right now, living in Lagos and experiencing the whole high life, high class thing is quite similar to living other places. I recently talked about like the prices of eggs, for example. I think buying egg in a crate of egg in Nigeria and buying a crate of egg abroad, or maybe in the UK, because the food they make it to be cheaper. would
Yeah.
be similar. It's the prices would be similar now,
Yeah,
and I'm just
prices are
like
very similar, if not
very
lower.
similar. Exactly. Like I see menus and I see a glass of drinks, and it's like 6K. That's similar. 6K, and you're earning, so it's like people are earning in nine. So I think when they see people in those kind of spaces, they are shocked that they are the people that can afford to be in those kind of spaces are able to match them aura for aura. That's what they say on the internet. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I think they might want to come there and be elite, but it didn't really work out that much this year because of the inflation. And from the responses that I saw online, so they were, yeah, but yeah, if you're earning, of course, in pounds, and you come to Nigeria, of course, you would have cheaper prices of
Yeah, you
things.
have a
But
good
like
time.
yeah, but the way as Dorothy has said before, your taxi, they're charging you like 40,000, 30,000 naira. That's like 25 USD, 30 USD is quite similar. Sometimes transportation can, even if it's public transportation, it can even be cheaper some other places.
It's much
Lagos
cheaper,
is
yeah.
getting very expensive. So many people were shocked this year. I'm sure they will be very shocked this year that they went and spent like they were, abroad.
I
I'll keep
think
expanding your questions.
no, that's really fine. It's really nice to
Yeah.
have, your perspective. Your perspective definitely would expand, and I think I don't want to call out any country in particular or tourists from any country in particular, but it's have been really interesting to see how shocked they were. But Dorothy,
The
do you hold
UK, you can call them. It's okay. They are the corporate.
our UK mates and
Mm,
UK buddies or UK girlies?
mm.
Dorothy, do you hold that same position? Do you think that Nigeria being a third world country with a highly devalued currency um, may have given way to more tourists coming during the holiday period? Do you think that IJGBs go to Nigeria to get the dose of like premium treatment or elitism after working so hard and saving all year?
Okay, yeah. So um I think it contributes to it because definitely our currency is really weak, and they can definitely do things here that they can't do in most cases, right? And but still, I think that the areas, like if we look at the concentration where they really visit when they come around, like um I was listening to Halisa, they say that some of them that came were not surprised. That were surprised that people did not, really react to maybe see them as anything special. That is because the areas you're staying are not like the Lagos we're even talking about is just one small stretch of Lagos, just a little um place in Lagos. It's not like nobody is going to say, "Oh, I came and I went to Badagry, or I came and I went to Mushin or
Or
Oshodi,
Ikorodu. Yeah.
or Ikorodu or Ikotu." No
And
one is
no
going to
shades
say
to
all of that.
Ikorodu people, all my Songo, Abulegba people, like, we love you and like we stand so much for you on here.
Exactly. So yeah, so they can't expect to be surprised. I think people that live in those places are already like the top 1% of Lagos already. So they shouldn't expect to be surprised. But yeah, definitely. I think, our currency is weak up, you can definitely get a lot more stuff, cheaper here. You can get a whole lot without even spending so much, even though yes, things are more expensive now, but for them, I don't think it's really it's anything. And I think yeah, they come. I don't think many of the people who come back to Nigeria, um, well, I'm kind of like in the middle of because I'm also trying to be careful, right? Because there's a way you go off and people will just feel like, what are you even saying about Nigerians too and all those kind of things. But yeah, I think definitely things are cheaper here. So when they come here, they have access to do a lot of things that they will not be able to do on a regular day, and currency is weaker. You can get more people, you can have more fun, and basically feel like a god, for that period. And yeah, that's basically what I think.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and on that too, the contributing factor is currency, weaker currency, and being a third world country. I guess that has its own appeal on itself because there are many people that might have gone to Paris, wherever, and they're like, okay, you know what, let's experience something new, something different. Yeah, I guess there might be
Yeah,
that, but we
and
can't.
there's something I
Mhm.
also want to point out, like the people that work, and this is something that people might not say, but 90% of the people that work in those facilities, the clubs, the hotels, are from the poorest parts of, they are actually from poor
hmm,
backgrounds. So
yeah,
definitely they will actually get that treatment. The waitress, the gate man and everything, they will get that treatment because many of them are actually very, very poor people in Nigeria. So yeah.
What I was even speaking to was like, I think maybe the pool there is also that they can get things cheaper. They can, experience the nicer, comparatively nicer weather and things like that. But there's also Afrobeat that is doing a number like that. If Nigeria was a serious country, there would have been something like an Afrobeat university already, or a university for arts and whatever, and it's just Afrobeat focused. But I'm sure we're going to have that in somewhere in Greece or Sweden someday. But there's like a lot that is supposed to be going out from Nigeria that that could come off at a soft power. That I think there's a pool there for sure, not just because
yeah,
people can, yeah, there's definitely a pool for people to want to go to Lagos. And if like Dorothy said, you can speculate and say, oh, we had this year, next year what can we do, or what can we plan for? And if everything was like serious, they could have planned
mm,
and actually made it useful for the people. Because right now, I'm me, when you have people that serve these people and everything, I find that that's what a lot of these tourist places turn into. We can go to, like, a lot of people um retire from working. This one, at least, they are working in a year and then they retire in December and they go back. We have another phenomenon that people would retire after they retire. Old white ladies, they'll go to
yeah,
Senegal and
yeah,
be with someone who is like in his early 20s. So i'm
yeah,
i'm usually very, very wary when it's like the people there would end up having to serve these people, because they will create like a whole estate for themselves. That's what they will
yeah,
usually do. They'll create an estate for themselves. The prices of houses, the people that are there would be removed from their houses. At least they have people that can go bank for a bank with them in like Lekki, that are like, in fact, when they are looking at some of these people that are coming from the abroad, them, they are traveling a lot. There's levels to this. They are traveling a lot. Some of them, they just chose to stay in Lekki because they like the weather. If they wanted to be somewhere else, some of them could be. So they are looking at people that you're real working class in that place, and it's just like, okay, you're here. So there are people, it wouldn't be that them creating a whole estate for themselves, but we need to
yeah,
be wary. We need to be, and then you just making you put other people, the people that will be serving you, your gate man, people that help you, people your help, things like that. You'll be, of course, they will appreciate it. But we sometimes, I personally, let me speak for myself, I sit on that position where I try to be always skeptical about things like this.
yeah. Thank you, Alisa. I think I sort of get what you're saying, and like the point you're trying to make, that because there's also so much money in Nigeria, and particularly like big cities like Lagos and Abuja. The reason we have which we I think we all can agree on, the reason we have poverty in Nigeria is not because we don't have enough resources. It's just that resources are not going round, and that's why there's that really like deep class divide. And what that also brings about is when IJGBs come back, or when we even have people who are just coming back to the motherland in quotes, when they come to the parts of Lagos which is enjoyable for them, they get to be in contact with Lagos elites themselves who have the money to spend. And so nobody is being impressed. And they're not exactly showing what anyone has never seen before. So I think you both have gone a bit I you know, in voicing your thoughts, you've gone a bit um further into the conversation, and you've started the conversation on the socioeconomic implications of this search. But I also just, want to ask the question again so we can discuss this in more detail. What are the socioeconomic implications of Dirty December on Nigeria's working class? So, Jotimi mentioned the hike in transportation cost, and we know for a fact that when it's December or when it's holiday period, generally in Nigeria, things become more expensive. And one of the things that rockets so high during this period is transportation. And not just local transportation or not just public transportation now, but also using um, e-taxis or like e-alien services for taxis. But there's also another part I saw on social media because, like Alisa, I didn't spend Lagos in December. Oh, sorry, I didn't spend December in Lagos. But I also saw another part of the UK and US girlies saying, "Oh, follow me to Lagos to get my braids done for $40. Follow me to Lagos to get my braids done for £30, or follow me to get a clean cut for less than £10." I saw a lot of such content on social media, and I also saw some reaction from a number of people saying that there was a hike in services too. So do you think that Dirty December has that negative impact on the socioeconomic condition in Nigeria, which we all can agree has been, really, really low? Do we think that Dirty December has come to worsen the economic situation in Nigeria?
Yeah, okay. So during the start of the Dirty December, I was seeing reports about how our dollar was gaining, sorry, our naira was gaining weight. Do you- was gaining strength. I was like seeing it. I was seeing reports about how our naira was gaining strength, and that was reported to be because dollar was coming in. People were booking Airbnb. People were really bringing in money to shop, to do things here, and a lot of money was coming in. So I guess the government was able to attribute that to them performing well on the economy. All of those kind of metrics that are usually around GDP and things like that. You can't
Hmm.
really trust them.
Yeah.
But around that time, people were still saying, yeah, there's dollar coming in. But the government wanted to take credit anyways that yeah, whatever reforms they are doing is working. But that was like for a short period of time. I've not seen the very recent one after they left, or like maybe last 2 weeks or something like that. So I think that might have affected other places that are not Lagos. But in Lagos itself, I think things would have gotten more expensive, because when people are saying I did my braid for $40, that's almost 60,000, or I don't know, 70 or 80,000. But they present it as it's very cheap. So if there was a concrete plan for like 5 years or something like that, then there would have been a way to actually, you know, capitalize on that. And this thing is not that new, but the way that it's going is supposed to, it's it could be it could be Nigeria has this opportunity to make everything the way they want it to be. But every
Hmm.
time you see that Nigeria fall into that kind of mindset where they end up trying to make things like America, so to say, where it's like there's a concentration of wealth in one place, or a concentration of modernity in, or civilization in quote in one place, and then there's a concentration of something else where you can really do something else, you can do something different. You have the rare opportunity of really developing something for yourself, you know. So for me, I think Lagosians might have had things more expensive, but I think like generally other places they were like, oh, okay, there would have been industries that would have benefited for sure, and maybe other places even outside of Lagos.
Thank you for your perspective on that. Jotimi, I'd like to hear from you, considering that, you had a dirty December in Lagos.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think the impact was, for me, I think it was rather passive, besides just these few things that were mentioned, because I don't think anyone would really price their products or anything on the long term for, based on a short term event that did not last longer than 3 weeks, right? So basically, prices have gone back to normal, or, and I think, yeah, so I think the impact was rather passive, and that's like sort of like the concern that I have, that such an event does not have any long term effects. So then what's now all the force about it when it doesn't have any long-term effects, to the betterment of people's lives or anything, right? So that's one. And then the second thing that I might just mention is, it kind of makes it a little bit harder for people to really, say maybe express themselves after this particular, like at least within this period, because like I'm talking about Nigerians in Nigeria, Lagosians like living in Lagos, the regular Lagosians and everything. What I'm saying that is, when you have such situations where people are, for the most part, living in like, hardship and poverty and all of those things, right? And then you have this massive boom, it kind of like, helps the government to say, oh, hey, you see, we're doing well, and yeah, there's some people that were protesting in Lagos just a couple of months ago. I think the major protest that was in Lagos was October 1st, right? And those ones are just noisemakers, because hey, in December, everybody wanted to come to Lagos. The Lagos you say is not working for you. Everybody wanted to come, or everybody, came there and had fun and everything. So yeah, Lagos is working. So that's the only impact. That's going to make it harder for people to be able to say that, hey, there's massive hardship, or the like, this place is not, or let me just put it like this is not the Lagos, that this is not how good Lagos should be on a regular. So when you have celebrities trooping in, you have people saying, oh, it's nice and everything, and then like there are some people that I know like on social media who like support this current government or support the government, and they came back and they're like, we came back and we didn't see anybody suffering. There's nobody suffering. I went to clubs, they were active, and restaurants were fully booked. In fact, I couldn't even get a place, and so on and so forth. So those are that's the on the other side, or like that I'll mention. I don't think there's any direct, real like impact, like in terms of like long term for pricing and of things and everything. Because if you own a business in Nigeria and you don't you don't price your products based, or your services based on what the people can afford, you'll most likely be run out of business. You cannot say because of a 3 week boom that's going to make you change your price and everything. So I just think those are the things that I observed.
All right, thank you very much. Um, I think that's a very, very interesting perspective. And I think uh both you and Alisa discussed this more in terms of like financial growth and development for the country, which is an angle I really appreciate. But is it also possible that we think also along the lines of like Nigerian masses who were not able to enjoy their December because of the surge of tourists? Do you think that there's something we can do as a society to ensure fairness for masses, or for the Nigerian masses who, of course, make the bulk of the population, or should I say, the middle class and the lower class in Lagos? Is there What can we do to ensure that there's fairness for them during this periodic surge of tourists, so that they are not outpriced in their own city?
Mm. What can we do for them?
I mean, like, what do you think are things that can be done? What are the things that the government can put in place
Yeah,
so that
that's a different
people are not
question.
outpriced? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, because individually, we have to, we're trying to tap out of the idea that we can individually do anything to, you know, do to really help ourselves, the masses. But generally, I think that it has always been a thing where the masses are not able to enjoy, like, I think that's the point. You're the masses, so luxury is not for you generally. But I think what other places are able to do is to create spaces, create spaces where people can create culture around these things. I think the culture that is being created now around Dirty December is, good for a certain type of people. But there has to be like a deliberate effort to create spaces outside of those types of areas for people to be able to go to, or to be able to enjoy the things that they are meant to enjoy. And for example, since we're talking about celebrity, in fact, pop culture, some to a certain level in this conversation, mm, so Afrobeat artists are able to, sometimes they try to do free concerts. During this period, there was one going on in Southeast. There's this rapper, his name is Jerick. He did a very huge concert, and I think it was not priced as highly as they would outprice people in Lagos. Say in Lagos, in fact, people that are doing concerts, it was over 100,000. Sometimes they make it like that expensive, not just for, there are different reasons why tickets are expensive, right? But they make it expensive to be able to just target a certain type of people. And there are some people that would work hard even in Nigeria, save, and they want to participate in all of those kind of like events around themselves. But I think they just they made it. I see things happening in closed spaces more than it would be in some other places. So what they've done in some places is, there's a location in Southeast. Obviously, there should be locations in other parts of the country. Sorry, there's a location in Southwest, which is Lagos. And even in that same Lagos, maybe you're now talking about how you want to integrate the masses in Lagos in the happenings or the events that's happening there. You just have to create other spaces outside of that. Everybody cannot go to Lekki. Lagos is already small as it is, relative to other states. So, but you definitely need to create spaces other outside of there. And I think communities just like, I think people used to be more happy during Christmas before than they are now. Generally, like during Christmas, during Eid or Salah for Muslims, there's a lot of, okay, children will go to amusement parks. I mean, older people, I'm not sure about how people actually celebrate Christmas now. I'm not sure. Maybe do it to me. I really don't know what people do. People that if you can, it's like if you can't go to club, what's this with this club culture self in Nigeria,
I think Christmas traditionally is spent more with family because
right?
for
People
me
travel. People used to
even if
travel
I was
before. That's
in
true.
Lagos, I would have just spent the time with my family. And
Yeah.
December generally is not a time I gallivant. Not like I ever gallivant in the real sense of it, but like um but yeah, people
Yeah,
still do what they
yeah,
want to
December
do,
used to
you
be for
know.
families, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Now I think all of these things get so blurry in my mind. It used to be for families, and now it's for nightclubs. And if you can't go, they say if you can't go, then you stay out of it. But I'm not, for me, I just think it has to be an active effort. Maybe if the government cannot do it, nobody even expects anything from them anymore, the people that are planners can try to create pockets of those things in other places. That's just, and outside of Southwest too, because everybody's talking about Dirty December, but it's just concentrated in one area. What about other places in Nigeria?
Hmm.
That's if that Dirty December is actually a good thing, right? Because I don't know that I want to be bringing all of these foreigners to my home. You know, I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know. Yeah.
Your take on that? Dirty Me, do you want to share your own view on that. But
Yeah.
yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So for me, I'll look at it from like the two different perspectives. I would so first of all, there's a side of like, since we're talking about like Halisa has talked about maybe what the government or or the private planners, because for business owners, right? And this is why we don't advocate for, you know, the private industry to run everything. And because like the only agenda of like a club owner or like a hotel owner or anybody that owns any of those private, fun facilities is to make profits. you know so if they are going to, and even the idea of all of these things are already very elitist and classist, right? So you don't look good, you're not driving the right car, you can't enter this particular place. There are restaurants in Lagos, everybody knows this, that they tell you how to, if you're not dressed in a particular manner, you can't come in. If you don't even come, I'm not even talking about clubs, I'm talking about restaurants. That if you don't come with a particular type of car, they can't let you in. So these businesses are for profits, and there's nothing you can do that would make them see people that have, you know, um, a higher amount to spend, and they will say, oh, for the sake of love, let's just, bring everybody together. Let's come and let's have fun. So even you with your 10 naira come in. No, it's not going to work that way. So, and it also falls down to private transport. It's because we don't have the reason why we're complaining about like transportation cost and everything. It's not because the IJ GB came and entered downfall. No, they like most of them, if they're not riding their private cars, they most likely will have used Ubers and everything, which is why the rates went up and everything. But like, it's because we don't have great public infrastructure. So it falls down back to what is there for the public. In Lagos, we do not have parks. We do not have parks. It's a current pandemic now, of even, people arguing on social media. I think that's another topic. People arguing about dates and the cost of dates. We don't even have park. We don't have parks. We don't have places where people can just go. I don't, because immediately you step in any of this businesses like a restaurant and everything, they are within 2 seconds they're asking you, what are you here for, what do you want to, so there are no places where people can
Hmm.
actually like meet on a normal day. And that's the only, that would be, and that goes back to like planning. Me personally, my own opinion, I think, if I was the governor of Lagos or something, or if I was into leadership in Lagos, I would have to replan some cities. Our cities are so choked up. There are no spaces for parks. You can't even take your children anywhere. Even the landmark, and that's why I'm not really a fan of the whole. Like, I was watching the podcast, yesterday, him complaining about how many people can afford to get into landmark. So why should the average, when I see average people crying about, oh, they
Yeah.
demolished landmark. When I was growing up, we used to like, when you go to the beach nowadays, it's like you're going to the club. I don't know if you go to a Lagos beach, except you're going to like Badagry or
I
something.
hear they're even privately owned and you have to pay, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to pay to get in, which is really shocking for me because I've been in
That's
so
that's
many
that's
countries I've
mind
never had to
blowing.
pay to get in on the beach.
You have to pay, and not just even paying to get in is one thing. So when I was much younger, yeah, we used to pay to get in, a little fee and everything. But now paying to get in is even one thing. The businesses inside the on the beach are so exploitative that you as a common man cannot just go and say you want to go and hang out at the beach to do what? To do what? Like, if you go to Landmark and all of these places, how many common people can afford to go to any place and say they want to any sub? Because the people who buy those private beaches now have like, they now sublet the space which they've been able to buy to other guys, like restaurants, bars, clubs, all of these things. And those guys now try to make an overkill of revenue, to bill whoever is coming to the beach. So the solution to all of this is just public infrastructure, public spaces, parks, appropriate, and because like the prices of things like BRT are fixed. So if you have BRTs running everywhere, nobody cares about how much an Uber would cost at that particular period, because you can afford it. If you cannot afford it, you can afford to go on a train, or you can afford to use a park, or basically do the rest. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jotimi. That's a very insightful and interesting angle. Though I think Last Park will beg to differ in terms of parks, but I agree we don't have enough parks in Lagos, and I think also because of how the nature of Nigeria's economy being so capitalist, everything involves money and everything involves spending money. But I was also I think one thing we can also expect from the government is that if like Jotimi said, we have better um public transportation with fixed prices, even if privately run transportation companies decide to have surges and spikes and things like that, we can always rely on the public transportation system if it actually works and if it is very regulated. And that thing I think can also be regulated is prices of things. I know growing up in Lagos, there used to be like associations of like hairdressers, tailors, and other similar um, skilled entrepreneurs. But these are things that we don't see these days. I remember then they used to display price list. Please challenge me if I'm wrong. I remember then, like you go into like a hairdressing salon or like a barbing salon or like a tailor's workshop or space, you see prices displayed for different styles you can possibly do there. And these things like kept prices in check, and then there was some level of regulation. But I know generally in Nigeria, very few things are regulated in price, and this causes like spikes and dips in prices. So thank you both for sharing. I think we can have one last question and then start rounding up the episode. But what do you think we can do as tourists to promote local economies, or how do you think we can promote ethical tourism? Um, Alisa spoke earlier on about how Airbnbs or like how people come to Nigeria and then they patronize like um restaurants and hotel chains, and they do very little for the local businesses. So how do you think as tourists, even in our own country, like that's for people who reside outside Nigeria and have to come into Nigeria and mimic that tourist behavior, or people who are going into a third world country as tourists, how do you think they can do tourism there ethically or in a way that enables growth for local businesses?
Good question. Ethical tourism. I like that. There's a lot of things that there's a lot of words that are now attached to tourism. There's one they call slum tourism, and I think that's the one that people do when they go to Makoko.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to them they are doing ethical tourism, right? So it's like,
Mm,
yeah, I'm going to stay or in all of these places, Banana Island or wherever. I'll take one day and I'll go to one of the slums,
yeah.
and like just return. Then now I feel like I've done something,
And take
right?
1,000
So
photos for social media.
yeah. So I think people need to recognize that when they are doing that, maybe they are not exactly doing ethical tourism. They are just, trying to knock a lot of things off their chest while they think they can, right? So I think that's a very good question. I've not really said that word out loud before. Ethical tourism, right? I think let's use this opportunity. Maybe you would also comment more on that to maybe redefine what that should look like in areas that are in poor areas where people can have now seen as a new tourist location. um yeah, that would be nice for people to understand that when they are doing it. And for me, I think the point I mentioned before was that people should also be able to integrate in their own kind of plan, just learning about the place, learning about its history, even if it's taking half a day to actually try to learn something about the place outside of just the entertainment. People that are very good at going on tourism will tell you, yeah, I went to visit some local places that they will not tell you are the main attraction site. Because let's say you have a tour guide, they'll just take you to some of these places. So you kind of have to do your own work as someone to somewhere. And some of these people already know those places. Uh, we can take those high rising places as aspirational for all we care or what we want to do, but we also need to try to take our time to learn. And there are two types of people that do this dirty December, in my opinion. There are people that maybe this is the first time they are going to Nigeria, or the second time. Those people, they can incorporate, okay, let me learn about this place. Let me actually
Yeah.
try to learn something about this place, and not just about how cheap the place is for me or how
Hmm.
nice their clubs are. you know that's all. Some people just go out at night, and in the morning there's nothing else they take from there. So I think that kind of hedonistic mindset
Hmm.
should be measured. When it comes to Lagos is still a very important place, very important to Nigerians, and very important to our history. So there should be such historical touch, or sort of learning that they should try to do. And those people that are also planning a guide or things like that, they can put one or two of those in their activity. In Rwanda they do it because Rwanda has more contemporary or more
Yeah.
newer history and all of that. So they still do it. They do it for Ghana, actually, even though they've destroyed Ghanaian cities. So yeah, they do. So I think once they try to do that and they know that, yeah, I can go to the slum, I can learn about the slum, but this is not for cheesing. This is not I don't know what kind of moment it is for them. I think they should just incorporate the history there. That's just for
Hmm.
me. And then people that are planning these things out, they should also be aware. People should just try to be aware. When it comes to Lagos, people try to be dense and obtuse. No, we know what's up. We all know, especially Nigerians. Like I said, there are two types of tourists. There are the Nigerians that maybe lived in different parts of Nigeria and never lived in Lagos before, but they are still
Yeah.
participating. So those people too, we all know we are Nigerians. Let's stop playing.
I think
But
even for
that's
some people who may have grown up in Lagos, they didn't really like experience Lagos. A lot of people don't like know like the historical sites and things like that in Lagos.
Yeah, many
So
people
yeah,
don't
you're
know.
right.
Yeah, many people don't know these things. And because I've met some people that are like, I grew up in Lagos, but like I've been to maybe the island once, I've been to this place once, and that's
Yeah.
actually how it is, right? So, but the thing is, with these people now, they now aspire because they are creating this aspirational small pockets in Lagos that everybody want to go there. Like everybody want to go, even the people that, like you said, that like we're not able to go to those places. So it signifies access and things like that. But how can you do ethical tourism? How? When the place is like that underdeveloped? For me, I mean, not every place, but yeah. How can you do it? I'm also curious about your thoughts, but to me.
Yeah, I think we'll hear from Dorothy. Then I'll just share
Yeah.
some of the things that I feel, that maybe we can do to promote ethical tourism. I know ethical tourism is a contradiction itself because tourism is was created
Mm.
mostly for like exploitative purposes. But then let's just hear from Dorothy first.
Interesting. So yeah, I was thinking when you mentioned historical sites as a Lagosian, I was just thinking historical. We are the historical sites. I was trying to think hard. Where are the historical sites? I mean, maybe just two or three that we can point to, or like that would be even worth visiting or anything. But anyways, I don't know. Yeah. So that's one. And then secondly, like, yeah, on the issue of ethical tourism, I think that for me, I don't know, if I'm a tourist, I just want to go and have fun. So I don't think the responsibility falls on me. I'm not just gonna say that for me personally. I think, or what could be done is on two sides. It will be on the side of number one, the government, and on the other side, on the people who live within that particular environment. We are the ones that could actually foster these things. Like I said earlier when I was speaking, now we now know that, okay, maybe if this happens, because this is a one-time occurrence. It needs to happen for about maybe 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 years before we know that, okay, this is a constant thing. And every December, or every whenever it happens, people are trooping into Lagos. That's when you now start seeing people, create businesses around this. So yeah, we already have like establishments like that are on the island. We already have those people who own clubs, and they know that during December there will surely be a surge, so they don't really have to do anything special. When it's December, they just have to invite a couple of celebrities to influence that, hey, we're going here, and um that's that for them. But if this continues to happen, then people, like citizens, residents, can now say, okay, how can we use this opportunity to now start opening up other places, promoting other places, thinking about how we can take people to, because again, why I said the bulk of it falls to go on down on the government. Nobody's going to go to Badagry if it's not safe. That's the truth. Nobody's going to go to Oshodi, if there's any historical sites in Oshodi, to say, oh, I just for the fun of it. No, people do tourism for there's a people. I'm not going to travel to another country and go and be fighting your struggle. No, that's not what's going to happen. I'm a tourist. I just want to see like your sites. I want to have a good time. I want to
Yeah.
eat your food. I want to experience your food and all of those things, right? So
Therefore, a good
yeah.
time, not a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I think it will fall on the government to actually like, make sure that these things and are proper, and it's ethical according to like how you've put it. And again, it will now fall down on the people who are here to now start, okay, creating a couple of ideas. Okay, we have this particular, like we have this, like if you go to Badagry today, all of those, I went to Badagry when I was a kid, a school excursion, to see the whole slavery sites and all of those things. And I went there 2 years ago, and I must tell you, the place is almost gone. Like
Oh,
this,
wow.
not exciting. It's like a ghost city. It's a ghost city. It's nothing exciting. Even if you watch videos on YouTube, as like people take going around the slavery sites, and the presentation is poor. The relics, so it's like it's in shambles. It's not being protected by the government. I was watching another one in Edo State where they said they had the one of the greatest one world wonders,
The
that's the Great
yeah,
Wall of Benin. Yeah,
yeah.
and it's like a refuse dump. It's like it's like a refuse dump. So bulk of it falls down on the government. People want to go to Benin. I want to go to Benin. I've never been to Benin. I would love to go and see some of those things. But what's going to take me there? Even me, that's a Nigerian living in Nigeria, what's going to take me to so many of these other states that have rich history? I think a lot of states in Nigeria, that are not even Lagos, they have richer history. Like if you want to
Yeah.
really learn about like the history of Nigeria, yeah, I don't think Lagos will really be the destination. There are a lot of states that have richer occurrences that happen at a particular historical occurrence and everything. So it falls down to the government. Bulk of it falls down to the government, and then the people to now observe the trend that, okay, yeah, people want to come to Nigeria, people want to relocate to Nigeria, people want to do this and that, and then now starts setting up pockets of, oh yeah, I'm going to take you on a tour to Badagry, or this is where that kind of stuff. And make sure that it's well spread out. Because like, just to summarize, I feel like if this visiting Lagos is well spread out, and not just, okay, not just Lagos but Nigeria, but let's use Lagos first, right? If this visiting Lagos is well spread out to all of the, like every single area in Lagos, I think it will have a lot of economic benefits. I think you could actually even do business in December and close up for like the first 4 months. If people are actually trooping in, and you own maybe like a restaurant or something, and you make so much money, right? But it's just because it's confined in one area. I don't think it actually benefits the states so much. Yeah, right.
Mm. That's a
Yeah,
very
yeah, and
interesting.
most of
Yeah.
these places, right? You know, if you want to expand it to the global world, and being me, let me deep into stay in my conspiracy theory bag for a second and say they will not allow Lagos shine. There, by there I mean, the global elite. If
Yeah.
Lagos just wants to be something, they'll just start spreading travel advisory They'll say, don't visit Lagos. Go to their embassy website. Everywhere they will say, don't go to Lagos, don't go to Nigeria. The conspiracy, I'll stay in that and be like, even right now, not everybody will tell you Nigeria is safe to travel to. So you end up having people just stay in one place. And imagine if you're a solo traveler. So I can see how the security is definitely important. And yeah, for
I,
sure.
I, I mean, like, Drew, to me, I won't even travel across Lagos. I can't remember when last, I've gone beyond Lagos, um, like by road, or by rail. Let's put it that way. It's probably been like even years since I got into Ibadan. So I totally understand like that fear regarding security and also maintenance of what should have been or what we term as our important sites or like important places to visit. I think this is lesson for the Lagos State Tourism Board or the Lagos State Ministry of Tourism and Detty December to consider. But Alisa did ask me a question about ethical tourism, and I think I've been reading a lot from a couple of people, and one really notable person. Her name is Joy Malonza on Instagram, and she says things like, rather than people staying in large hotel chains, um, they should, focus on maybe patronizing like local boutique hotels. So for example, instead of staying in a Radisson Blue, why don't you check for like a smaller hotel? Because if you stay in Radisson Blue in um I don't know, anywhere in Europe, you're probably going to get the same um type of space, treatment, food and everything as opposed to patronizing a local brand. She also says things around, having to visit like historical sites, like Halisa had said, and integrating yourself more with the culture of the host country or host city. I did see a couple of people on Instagram that, went to local markets, had lunch or dinner with, host families in Lagos, in Abeokuta. I also saw a number of people going out of Lagos, to places like Ibadan. I saw Abeokuta. I saw Sokoto. People going to like local markets. People going to dye centers. People just doing things that a number of Nigerians do on their day-to-day living or like as part of their day-to-day activities. And I found that really interesting because it was not like typical Dirty December behavior. It was more, people trying to understand how people live or how a city survives or how masses within the city survive. So I'm just going to come back to you guys and ask you to just give your last words regarding Dirty December. What are the things you want to see in future from the tourists, from the locals within the cities? We're hoping that Dirty December, as Dirty said, would move not just from Lagos to Abuja, but also spread to other parts of Nigeria. So, what are the things that you think we should look out for? What are the um, things you want to see basically moving forward?
Yeah, so I think I'll go back to your question and use it to answer the question you asked about integrating people and carrying everybody along. So um I think if this continues, it should be a way that many people can participate in it. And if it's something that can be, the pros should be able to outweigh the cons. And in that way, people can, if it's something that it could be made to be anything, and it should be made to be something that has a lot of good things. Otherwise, it should go right back where it came from. I'm not excited about PR for a city if the city is not actually up to standard. So this should also, it should be a thing that can boost the government, can make a lot of people sit up and say, okay, we can have something here. We actually can have something here. And let's work to have that. If that's possible, then for sure I would like to see a lot of people incorporated more, a lot of similar pockets of that happening in other states in Nigeria, in other places too, and just get the country going. Nigeria can be great, really. Although some of us still are on this. That's it for
Yeah.
me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alisa. And we're hoping that government officials are taking notes. Jyoti, over to you, please.
Yeah, so yeah, I think Halisa has basically said it all, but I'll just add that I think that those that have those that came to this to enjoy Lagos or enjoy Nigeria in December should now actually, I think they have like maybe another 11 months to reflect and also focus more on seeing, especially those that are like, I don't have an issue with people who are not Nigerian. So if you're South African, if you're from any other country and you came to Nigeria, please feel free to just come, and have fun, have maximum fun and go back, right? Our issues for me, I think, are government issues. And I think if we can, get the government to address or get better governance, we will not be having most of these conversations. But for those that are like Nigerians, that those are the people that I basically like have like issues with, like those that are Nigerians. I think that like Halisa said, no one is interested in doing PR for a city where majority of the people live in like a massive poverty. Like I mentioned earlier, majority of the people who even serve at those locations, like from your gate boy to your, even the drivers that are driving you, many of them are living in like in hardship and poverty. So I think there should be time to, yes, it's good, nobody can stop you from, you've worked a very 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 hard, and you want to come back and enjoy your holidays in your country, that's fine, no one is going to stop you or blame you for that. But I also think more effort should be pushed. Like I just didn't say it on social media and everything, but like, if considering the hardship that we have in this country, and like I was expecting that maybe there would be some, like there was no, maybe we didn't see any gathering to say, oh, let's discuss about how we can actually like make this country better or something. None. Like it was just fun, like and like I said, you gave the governments all the latitude to say, oh, hey, our country is working, look at people want to come and spend their money, because that is one of the key indications of a country working for the side of the government. If they can show
Yeah.
that people are coming and having fun, and in that country, like you that's agitating or demanding anything, they can just throw you by the side. So that is one of the things that needs to be done. And it's a very good thing for people to want to come to your country regardless of what's going on. It's a very good thing for people to want to come to visit. When people move into a place, it means there's some sort of, there's potentials for prosperity in that place. Those of us that are micro entrepreneurs are already thinking of some ideas, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't just be for profit, it should be something that can uplift the entirety of Lagos. So coming like in future, we want to see a scenario whereby people are visiting everywhere in Lagos. People are able to not just lock themselves up in one particular place and tell us that it's happening here. Lagos is the sweetest place to be when people are living in Agbado, people are living in Ikorodu, people and are not experiencing that. Experiencing all of this. So that's what needs to happen. The government in particular needs to, although I don't like giving advice to the government because they won't take it, but like when we have a serious government, I think that's one of the things that they need to look into. Tourism is very big. There's some countries in the world that majority of their revenue comes from tourism, not
Yeah.
oil, not any other resource. Just tourism alone is enough to sustain their economy. And there must be other things that people go, people should not just, like, I want to see a scenario where people are not just coming to come and brag about, oh, the clubs that, because when you ask all of these people that visited Lagos, what did they do while they were here? Did they even go for, was there any sporting activity? Was there anything? Was there anything else besides club and food?
It's a
Or like
You know,
any
spoil.
it makes us
festival,
so
like
vain.
traditional festival.
Exactly. Like when I was growing up, there used to be this exciting festival in Lagos called the Ayo Festival. I don't know if they still do it now, but I've not really heard,
I mean, I
much
think
of
they
it.
still
Like,
do it, but I don't just know what timing it is, and also because of course, the level of security during this event and things like that.
yeah. Yeah, I think what they now do is that they now use it for just, elite events. Just, if maybe there's a wedding ceremony of one big man or something, and or a music video or something. It's not really like it used to be when I was growing up and everything, and you could just go, just stand by the roadside. All you have to do to have experienced that, when I was growing up, is just be by the roadside in Lagos Island and make sure you're not wearing slippers or shoe, or else they'll beat you up with their sticks and everything. But that was part of the fun. That was part of the fun of it and everything. But all that is gone now. So if we're going to have Dirty December, it should be similar to what Donald Duke was trying to do in Cross River State, where it was like a festival where we know that the whole of Lagos is coming alive in December, and everyone has an opportunity to benefit, and enjoy it, not just a micro selection of few people. Yeah, so that's basically it.
Thank you very much, Dorothy, for this very I think you've just summarized the whole episode. Thank you very much, Alisa, too. I think we've had a really good time, if I must say so myself. And I think we've all agreed on something, which is whatever happened last December can be miles better in subsequent Decembers. So while we're all up for everyone coming around to Nigeria to have a good time, we also want Nigerians to have a good time in their own country with good infrastructure, good government, and a good economy. Most importantly, thank you very much for you
Thank
know
you.
coming on here. Thank you to the Out of the Box crew. We've had so much fun, and
Yeah.
hopefully, you guys will come on some other time to discuss something else. But until next December, take care and thank you for listening in.